Welcome to this week's conversation from the Gospel of Luke. My name is Tasha Calvert, and I've invited my friend Jameson Barker to have a conversation from Luke 10. Now, Jameson, in Luke 10, there are a lot of really familiar things that we've seen. If you've been in church at all, you've heard about the Good Samaritan,
Yes.
You've heard about the story of Mary and Martha, and then, of course, probably less familiar is the sending of the 72 disciples. So there's kind of a lot to unpack. What was your favorite part?
Yeah, so my favorite part in all of this is, it's pretty simple. It's a thing that whenever I read Luke 10 and read the story of Mary and Martha, it always hits me because it is a personality trait of mine. And so it always resonates because I'm always the person who is go, focused on the task. And so to see and be reiterated that it is about sitting at the feet of Jesus, and it's not necessarily about all the things that we do or the checklist that we have. And so it's not a monumental survey of the Bible, but it's just a simple reminder that I can get my priorities very wrong many times.
Oh, that's so good. Very convicting. I think what stood out to me was just the overarching themes that you see going on in Luke 10. So focusing on the 72 a little bit, that strikes me in such contrast to what we've seen all throughout the Old Testament. So you see in the Old Testament that God introduces himself to the world through his people, Israel. So much of the Old Testament is setting Israel up as center. And then we get to the New Testament and Jesus comes on the scene and it changes everything.
Yeah.
And now we see that there's kind of a new paradigm shift that's going on. And Jesus is center and he is sending out disciples. He's sending out people to go and tell about God's kingdom. And that, of course, is going to be our call even today through the Great Commission. I also loved the contrast between the blessings and the woes. I just like the balance that Jesus provides. So I thought that was just kind of some cool thematic things that we see going on in the passage. So as we are walking away from this part of our study, what is one takeaway that you really are just going to keep with you going forward?
Yeah, so for me, it's a connection between the story of Mary and Martha and the story of the Good Samaritan.
Okay.
And the way that I feel like that's connected, and especially reading it in preparation, was that I can tend to focus so much on the task that I can be much like the priest. And so for me, I can be on the road and I can just miss things around me. It's like the example you talk about, like a horse with blinders. So you have those things and you can only see in front of you. And that's how I tend to be in moments of life in general.
Right.
Missed opportunities at the grocery store when you're walking by someone and you can obviously tell they're having a horrible day. I can miss that because I'm so focused on the grocery list that's on my phone. And even at just all the places in life that we encounter people over and over and over again. In the doors of the church on Sunday morning, same thing. They just walk by people who are needing a ministry, needing prayer, needing a question. And let's not even talk about evangelism, sharing the gospel, those missed opportunities. And so for me, it's a connection between both stories, but it's that reminder that I need to spend every moment of every day asking the Lord to open my eyes, to take those blinders off so I can see what he's placed before me.
That's really good. And I would just retweet everything that you've just said, Jameson, because that is so powerful. And I think for me, just knowing that this is the last week in our study of this portion of the Gospel of Luke, I would just want to end and take away the same thing that we see Mary taking away from Jesus in the last verse of Luke 10. And that is where he looks at Mary and Martha and Jesus says, Mary has chosen the greater thing because she's chosen to sit at Jesus's feet and she's chosen to listen and to be discipled and to linger in his presence. And he tells her, it will not be taken from you. And I just think of the time that we have invested over the last 5 weeks, really digging into God's word. And I just realized that's an investment. That is not going to be taken from us. And so the time that we have spent and will continue to spend digging into God's word is worth it.